Once you have received your login information and log into MNSAS for the first time, you will see the registration dashboard. The dashboard will show you the forms you need to complete in order to submit your registration application. The institution section will show you previous registrations and forms specific to your institution type. The accreditations and financials sections will show you records submitted by your institution for those sections. The contact section will show you a list of all the users associated with the institution and the role within the institution. The president user role can submit any section of the registration application. The primary contact role can submit any section of the registration application except the financial records. The financial contact can only submit financial records in the financials section. Secondary contacts can submit institution information, accreditation information, locations, and programs, but not financial or new contacts. The locations section of the dashboard allows you to add and update locations. The program section of the dashboard allows you to add and update programs. Since this is my sample institution's first registration, there is only one registration available from the list, which is the one the system started for me after my initial inquiry was approved. The Submit Application button is disabled until the application is complete. Each section on the dashboard can be completed in any order. Accreditations, financials, programs, and locations require their own approval and can be saved as drafts or submitted at any time to begin the approval process. All the forms in the institution section are automatically saved as a draft until the application is submitted. As I complete each form in the institution section, it is marked as complete. If I need to update the information prior to submission, I can revisit that section at any time before I submit the application. After I complete all the forms in the institution section, the Submit Application button is still disabled because I have additional sections to complete. On the dashboard, you will see that I can add a new accreditation record, but I cannot add a new financial record. This is because my logged in user is a primary contact and does not have a role capable of adding a financial record. When I click Add New Accreditation and complete the form, at the bottom I can select to submit the form or save it as a draft. When I save the form as a draft, on the dashboard we can see the status for that record is a draft. Selecting the Edit button allows me to continue to work on that form. When I select Submit on the form and will return to the dashboard, that record status has been updated pending review. Once it has been reviewed, I will receive email notifications with information on the result. Since I can add several accreditation records to my institution, the section completion status has not changed. The Mark Complete button now appears since the section has a record. When I decide I have added all the accreditation information from my application, I can mark the section as complete. When marked as complete, I can continue to add new accreditation records until I submit my application. The Financials section does not have an Add New Financials button because I'm not logged in with the user that has the user role to add the record. I can choose to invite a new user to the institution with the appropriate role or add the role to an existing user. Since I only have one user, I'll mark the section as complete. However, I'll need to add the financial role to my account. When I add a user role to an existing user, it must be approved. While I wait for approval, I will continue with the other sections of my application. In order to mark the location section as complete, a location must be added. Location records can be saved as a draft or submitted for approval. Once you have added all the locations to the list, you can mark the section as complete even if there are records pending review. To add a new program, click the Add New Program button. You can submit the program for approval or save as a draft. Once all the programs have been added, you can mark the section as complete. Now that the financial user role has been approved, we can complete the financial section of the application by completing a new record and marking the section as complete. With all the sections marked as completed, we can submit the application even if there are records that are still pending review. Once submitted, we can see that the registration record changes from not submitted to submitted. If the review process has provisionally approved your application and there are submission requirements placed against your institution, you will see them appear on the Requirements section. Here, you can view the requirements, submit the appropriate information, and see the status. When you are ready to start your renewal application for the next period, you can click New Registration Renewal. This will not be available if you already have a not submitted or pending review application. This will open the institution details form for the new application and copy the information from your previous registration for you to update if anything has changed. Now, in the registration dropdown, we can see the new draft registration and the old approved registration, each with their expiration dates. Selecting the old registration changes the dashboard to view the forms associated with that registration. For users that may administrate more than one institution, once you have been added as a contact on each institution, a change button appears at the top of the dashboard. This allows you to switch which institution you are viewing in the dashboard.